Roses are red and violets are blue, and Blackfeather can play both to kill you. But today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to learn how to play with roses. Blackfeather is a strong flex pick because he can be played in the lane or in the jungle, either weapon power or crystal power. Now let's take a look at Blackfeather's abilities and how to master the mechanics of his weapon power playstyle. All of Blackfeather's abilities have many different uses and benefits. Take the time to read and understand all of the details. I will highlight the more important things that apply to the weapon power path. Let's start with Blackfeather's heroic perk, Heartthrob. Every time you perform a basic attack, you will regain 10 focus and build heart stacks on the enemy. When the hearts are broken, you can use Faint of Heart to execute the target for bonus damage based on a % of the enemy's missing health. I will always take this ability to its overdrive as fast as possible. Doing this makes Blackfeather and his allies unslowable in the Rose Trail, and more importantly, the overdrive will allow Faint of Heart to be reset after the use upon the death of its target within a half second. This is currently the only ability in Vainglory that can reset from kills or assists. Let's start with the practical uses of Faint of Heart. In the early game, it's best used for its utility. I initiate on the Idris with the Faint of Heart to give my teammates a speed boost. When Faint of Heart has its overdrive and I have an opening against a squishy carry, I will initiate with it and it makes me immune to slows from Samuel's Frostburn procs. By the time the ability is up again, I can use it as an execute and to refresh the Rose Trail as needed. Before you have your ultimate, do not blindly initiate with Faint of Heart. If an enemy has a dash or leap like this Baron, make sure that it isn't available, otherwise you lose your ability to follow the enemy once they try to escape. Because I saw him use his jump, I confidently dash in for the kill. You can also use Faint of Heart to dash through walls as long as you have a target to dash through. The lower the target's health, the more damage you can deal. In a long fight where Blackfeather can shred armor and obtain full breaking point stacks, the damage on Faint of Heart can be incredibly rewarding. Blackfeather's B ability, On Point, strikes all enemies in a line. When an enemy hero is struck, you will gain a barrier that increases based on 10% of the bonus health that you have. It can slow the target for 1 to 2.5 seconds based on how many Heartthrob stacks are on the target. I only take this ability to 4 ranks and generally use it for the barrier and the slow. In lane, I use On Point to safely farm. When up against a bully laner like Gwen, I use it to pull aggro from the minions and bring them to a safer place to farm. Because of the quickness of the ability, it is a great tool to poke with in lane. Here, I use On Point in conjunction with Faint of Heart and Rose Offensive. Blackfeather has an amazing kit when it comes to sticking to your target. The barrier that On Point gives can be very deceiving to your enemy. Here, the Lance thinks that he can get a kill on me, but the barrier from On Point keeps me alive and makes him overstay his welcome. Moments later, I continue to farm under my turret. I anticipate Idris's chakram and dodge it easily. I use On Point only for the barrier when Idris engages me. With the barrier up and my turret focused on him, I get another easy kill. Blackfeather's ultimate, Rose Offensive, is one of the best ultimates in the game because it can be used to dodge any crowd control effects. It is also an excellent gap closer, and with 2 charges, not many enemies can flee from Blackfeather's mobility. Rose Offensive also procs basic attack effects on the enemies. Items that have effects on the basic attacks will be applied during his ultimate. Blackfeather's Rose Offensive is incredibly versatile. With 2 charges, Blackfeather can use his ultimate to engage and disengage, or just outright chase his target to death. If timed correctly, Rose Offensive can block debuffs, just like a reflex block, but keep in mind that you will still take damage. If an enemy target has a wall jump or an escape, make sure that you save a charge for when they try to flee. Keep in mind that the range of this ability is 7 meters. You can also use Rose Offensive to block enemy skill shots from weak allies. Here is a list of enemy skill shots that Blackfeather can block. Now let's move on to the item build. Starting items will always be a swift shooter, and depending on your role, you will get either a Book of Eulogies if you are in the lane, or a Weapon Blade if you are in the jungle. His core items for my favorite build are the Breaking Point, then the Serpent Mask, and if you are carrying, a Bone Saw. Along the way, definitely get boots and a reflex block. Although his ultimate blocks debuffs, I like to save it for positional reasons. As always, upgrade into an Aegis and Journey boots for optimal movement speed and health. Against weapon power opponents, get an Atlas if they rely on attack speed, or a Metal Jacket if they are more ability focused. Some alternate items that would replace the Bone Saw would be a Poison Shiv, which is great when going up against high sustain heroes, and a very popular pick would be the Shiver Steel. It can apply a powerful slow and add 500 health. If the opposing weapon power carry has been starved and has a few items, instead of subbing it for a Bone Saw, I would pick this instead of armor. Moving on to how these items synergize with Blackfeather's kit, here are the numbers for the build. It is important to understand how these items affect your abilities so that you can play accordingly. The starred items add basic attack effects. Now every time Blackfeather basic attacks or uses his abilities, Breaking Point will give him more weapon power. If there are basic attacks involved, then the target's armor will be shredded. Over time, this duo of items will give Blackfeather tons of damage. All of this weapon power damage will heal a portion of Blackfeather's health due to the Serpent Mask. His perk Heartthrob helps him regenerate his focus with every basic attack. The 45% attack speed from this build will allow him to keep his focus high, which allows him to use all of his abilities. Because all of his abilities deal weapon power damage, Breaking Point will benefit from them, and the same thing goes for the Serpent Mask. The Bone Saw, however, will only proc with Faint of Heart and Rose Offensive. If you choose to buy the Poison Shiv, it will also proc with Faint of Heart and Rose Offensive as long as your next attack is ready for the Mortal Wound. It also pairs well with the Serpent Mask, giving Blackfeather a total 20% lifesteal. The Shiver Steel is a value buy that gives great utility to your allies, as you can proc the slow with Faint of Heart and even multiple slows with his ultimate. The 500 health will add an extra 50 to the barrier on point. Before I get started, I want to give a special shout out to Kasia Supleka. She is the artist of this piece here. Give her a follow on Twitter. Now let's move on to the priorities for Blackfeather. The first is to eliminate the carry. Blackfeather has an amazing ability to get into the enemy backline and stick to his target. His main priority is to eliminate the biggest threat and take them out of the fight. Number 2. Count crowd control for Rose Offensive. Blackfeather is most effective when he can dive his target undisturbed. Keep track of the enemy crowd control so that you can use Rose Offensive to stay mobile and aggressive. Next up, build stacks and proc items. Blackfeather's innate ability to proc item abilities while gaining stacks on his Breaking Point allows him to be a threat for damage and utility. Make sure your playstyle focuses on these things. Once Blackfeather has enough stacks, he is virtually unstoppable. And number 4, resets. Execute whenever you can. One of the most powerful traits a hero in a MOBA can have is the ability to reset an ability off of cooldown with kills or assists. Blackfeather is the only hero in Vainglory that can do this. When an enemy is low health and your stacks are high enough for a sure kill, always go for the execute so that you can redirect the refresh ability to the next victim. And lastly, don't overdive. At times, Blackfeather's mobility is too much for some slower allies. Be sure to pace your dives in accordance with how your teammates can keep up. You don't want to dive too far and be all alone in a fight. It is also important to note that before Blackfeather can get to level 6, he will have a very hard time. Play safe, play cautious, and get to that level as soon as you can. Now let's take all the mechanics and the builds that we've learned and put them into play. All of the games in this footage you will see here will be ranked games from the high tier 8 to the low tier 9. In all my videos I use only ranked games because they allow for a better representation of the meta and everyone that is playing is tryharding. In this gank, I come from the jungle as Arden baits the enemy team. My target will be Baron. I start with on point to slow and then gap clouds with Faint of Heart. Because Baron has a jump, I use Rose Offensive to stay ahead. Luckily, he had no energy, so I zoned him away from his turret. In this 1v1 with Idris, after a brief engagement, I get him to chase me while I wait for my focus and cooldowns to reset. I patiently wait for his movements before I use my Rose Offensive. When he is low and ready to be executed, I hit my on point for the barrier and execute for the finish. In this fight, my Adagio is being chased as he is trying to provide my team vision. Keep a note on my HP for the fight. I have 20% lifesteal. I stick to Gwen as best as I can since she is the squishiest and sure kill for my team. My next target was Taka. I fat fingered the Catherine and missed a double execute on Taka, but I follow him and hit an on point for the finish. Then I turn on to the Catherine to ensure an ace. I use everything I have to keep up with her incredible speed. At the start of this fight, Celeste blows her stun. It gave me a green light to dive in with Faint of Heart to ensure my pursuit. When Celeste uses her ult, I mistime my Rose Offensive, but the fortified health did absorb some damage. After I execute Celeste, I use Rose Offensive to cross over Jewel, exposing her to damage from all directions. In this fight, the Celeste opens with a stun, but she is close enough for me to use Faint of Heart to dodge her core collapse. This allows my team a trail for them to follow. I am now in between their entire team. To avoid myself from being fully focused, I use Rose Offensive to reposition. Once my team is able to give me assistance, I stay in the fight and keep attacking in order to stay alive through my sustain and Adagio's heals. I execute the Celeste, and because Faint of Heart is overdriven, I can use it again to execute the Jewel once she turns her back on me. In this team fight, I am the carry and we are getting poked down by the enemy. Be sure to always have health potions. I cannot stress enough how much this is needed as a carry. I wait patiently for the right time to dive in. My team lures the Catherine away, and the Kestrel and Skye line up for me to land Rose Offensive on both of them. I stick to Kestrel because if I leave her alone, she can use her stealth to run and or stun me. Once she is out of the picture, I turn to Skye and patiently dodge her abilities. When her cooldowns are off, I use Rose Offensive for the kill and the ace. During the ace, use the buffs to get as many objectives as possible. Here my team gets a turret and a gold mine. This is a 3,000 gold upswing for my team from just one team fight. When securing objectives, save the execute from Faint of Heart for maximum damage output. When my team redirects their focus, I follow up on my Finn's abilities and use Rose Offensive to hit multiple enemies. Kestrel dies almost instantly as I execute her and refresh my Faint of Heart. Knowing that Skye can be slippery, I use it again to maintain my movement speed against her and stay close for the kill. In this fight, leaving a Samuel to build Broken Myth stacks is a bad idea, so I dive him to prevent that. I am able to ult into the entire enemy team, which gets me 3 stacks on my breaking point. However, since I used my last Rose Offensive charge, I could not dodge the Impale or Githian wall, but the Rose Shale from Faint of Heart I placed on Samuel earlier allows me to speedily catch up to him while being unslowed by his Frostburn. Because Alpha did not try to peel for her team, I was able to chase very hard. As I chase the Lance, I anticipate his Githian wall and use Rose Offensive to dodge the knockback. With a little bit of help from Arden, I am able to secure the ace. This next clip showcases Blackfeather's amazing ability to engage and disengage numerous times throughout a fight. Once I disengage, I bring the Lance with me. I then go back into the Baron and finish him when he is alone. This next fight begins with the Ringo using his Hellfire Brew on me. I use Rose Offensive to block the burn effect and close the distance between my victims. Arden takes turret aggro and uses his Gauntlet to keep the enemies in my range. I pick up an easy double kill. In this final clip, the Arden gets caught trying to scout ahead of his team, so I continually build breaking point stacks before I can get a sure execute. The Jewel and Celeste are late to the party, but my team ends up lining up for a big red button. I use Rose Offensive to dash behind her and avoid some damage, but Celeste then ults right behind her. I then attack the Jewel for any kind of sustain. I use all the tools that Blackfeather has to keep me alive and engaged on the Celeste. I get myself a triple kill and the win. Hey, what's going on everyone? This is Dezey here. Thank you so much for watching my Blackfeather video, and I want to apologize to all my subscribers. I've been AFK for a really long time, but I haven't forgotten about you. I've been working on some undercover projects for Vainglory, some real big ones, to bring you all some really cool tools to help you get better at playing the game. Let's see. Another reason that I've been gone for so long is because I've actually tilted all the way down to tier 8 bronze, and I didn't feel like I could lead you all to the promised land if I was not POA or higher. So now I'm finally Pinnacle of Awesome, Silver, and I have a little bit of cushion, so that means I can just keep on putting out more videos for everyone. I also want to do a special shout out to Chanchai. He is the guy who has spearheaded this great project called the Pacific Northwest like regional server for Discord, and he's basically taken a whole bunch of Vainglory players from Vancouver, Seattle, Portland, and all the cities around it, and put them all into one server. So when he decides to kind of like start these halcyon gatherings, there's gonna be people that see it and want to go to it, and then they help give it coverage. So I want to give a special shout out to him because he's made a lot of that happen, and he's made the community in my area that much better, that much closer. If you want to be a part of that, just write it down in the comments, hit me up, and I'll send you a link to the Discord, and I'll probably see you at the next Halcyon gathering. The last one was a couple days ago, and that was awesome. In my last video, you saw a lot of spotlights, a lot of strategy, but you didn't really get to know much about me. So my name is Dezey. I've been playing games for years, forever, and I've been playing Vainglory since about the time they released Taka. And my favorite heroes, let's see, I like Blackfeather, Scarf, and Taka. I absolutely hate Saw, and if you watch my other videos, you kind of get that same sense, because I talk a lot of bad things about him. But my main roles I like to play are carry and the jungle. I do play captain from time to time when I have to, but I'm not really good enough to play it at a high level in a consistent manner, because for me, I think that's the hardest role in the game. Some other things about me, my favorite games of all time are gonna be Vainglory. It's Final Fantasy 11, Persona 3 and 4, Last of Us, and Suikoden 2. I guess that's it for now. If you have any Q&As, write it down for me in the comments, and I'll try to answer them in like future videos and things like that. So yeah, I want to thank you all for sticking around and listening to what I have to say. For all of you that are still here, I want to give you a chance for a great giveaway prize. Let's see. I have this this Vainglory track bag, or muscle bag, whatever you call it. I got it at PAX like last year, and then ooh, let me fix that. I got it at PAX last year, and I thought, oh wow, this would be a really cool giveaway prize. So now I actually have the chance to do it. I think I either have around 1,000 subs or might get it eventually. But so this is to commemorate 1,000 subs, and I want to thank all of you for your continued support and stuff like that. All you need to do is give me a like, give me a subscribe, and put in the comments below your 3 favorite Vainglory heroes. I have all these really cool stickers that I might want to just put in there if you're the lucky winner. I'm definitely going to throw in this this Saw sticker, because I don't even want it in my house. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for you today. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at the Dezey for any Vainglory related updates. Otherwise, I'll see you on the House Beyond Fold. Thank you very much.